John Wilson here, and in this video I'm going to rate and review 7 different online business models. I've personally tried 6 of them. A friend of mine has tried 1 of them, and be sure to stay to the end as I have a very cool free gift for you, and of course I'll reveal the business model I believe is the best one. Okay, let's dive right in. Okay, let's look at our first online business model. So the first one I'm going to look at is drop shipping. So for those that don't know, drop shipping is a business model where you are marketing physical products, physical e-commerce products for sale, and when you make a sale, someone else is fulfilling the order for you. So that might be coming from China, it might be coming from someplace in the US, but the key thing is that someone else is fulfilling that for you. So in terms of advantages, this business model has a fairly low startup cost, because otherwise you might be having to purchase large amounts of stock, having to hold that stock and so on. But in this case, you don't have to do that. Someone else is holding the stock and fulfilling it for you. So that does also mean that there's a reduced risk as well, because you don't have to buy that stock and you don't have to hold it. All right. And if it doesn't sell, then you're not hit with any losses. Okay. But on the downside with drop shipping, because someone else is doing the fulfillment and warehousing, there are much lower margins than if you were doing that yourself, for example. So you also have reliance on suppliers. So in terms of quality, someone else is completely, you don't have any control on that quality, because you're not shipping or buying the products. So you don't have any control on that. You don't have any control on the quality of the customer service or the quality or timeliness of the fulfillment. So those things are out of your hands. And also because of the low barrier to entry on this business model, the competition is pretty intense. Now, when I tried this, it was many years ago now, but I tried a kind of arbitrage model where you would find products, if it's cheaper on eBay, then you can sell on Amazon and get eBay to fulfill it for you, and vice versa. I found it very hard to find appropriate products, and also the margins were very slim once all the costs were taken care of. So that's drop shipping. Moving on, we're going to look at self-publishing. So I've personally self-published a couple of books. One I mostly wrote myself. One I had ghost-written for me, and that's, when you're doing this as an online business model, that's the most common thing to do, have it ghost-written. So there is definitely potential for passive income, because you have your book listed on Amazon, and once it's up there and it's going, you can potentially make sales of that without really having to do anything else. Also, you can outsource all the different parts of that you can outsource the writing, the editing, the design of the book cover and so on. All the different parts, you can outsource those. So those are the advantages that I see with that business model. But what I found is that the margins, once the Amazon fees and everything are taken care of, the margins on this are pretty low. So you do have to be doing a considerable volume to make it worth your while. There are many moving parts. So to get a book ready for publishing, you've got to have it written, edited, designed, the cover designed, write the blurb for the back cover, get a barcode for it, register it, get the international standard book number. And when it comes to launching it, you've got to make sure you've got to arrange to have people to review it and coordinate that to make sure they do review it and submit their review to Amazon all in time for your launch and everything. And it's pretty labor intensive. Even if you outsource everything, you still have to coordinate all of that, pull everything together, and make sure everything happens at the right time. So it is pretty labor intensive. Now, with the advent of AI, people are trying to write books with AI and everything as well. So that just means that there's so much more competition. And not that there wasn't competition before, but yes, because you have to do a number of books in order to get, some might do okay, and in order to get one that really goes big. But there's so much competition that you have to release a lot, I believe, in order to get some kind of return from this. Also remember that Amazon is not your platform, and you could get thrown off it for some technicality anytime, and I don't like the idea of that personally. So moving on with blogging. Blogging was really how I got my start online in 2012, and it has certainly been good to me. And there's definitely potential for passive income with blogging, because once your articles are out on the internet, they can rank in Google and you can get traffic on an ongoing basis. And also you can potentially outsource the writing of your blogs and everything. That is one advantage. However, again, with the advent of AI, it's becoming very hard to compete there, because it's so easy to get articles out there on blogs. In my experience, when I came to start in blogging in a new niche a couple of years ago, it was very, very hard to get traction with that, much harder than it had been 10 years prior to that. So I no longer do blogging as a traffic generation method, and I really don't recommend others do it either for that reason. So moving on to FBA, or e-commerce, FBA being fulfillment by Amazon, and this is the business model where you purchase a bunch of stock, often from China, send it to Amazon, have them warehouse it, store it, and then fulfill the orders for you. Now, the advantages here are certainly leveraging Amazon in terms of finding customers, and the fulfillment side of things is great. You don't have to do that yourself. There's obviously fees involved there, which we'll talk about in a moment. And because Amazon is holding things and taking care of these things, it can be pretty scalable if you do get traction. However, the startup costs are pretty high, because you do, as I say, have to get these the products made. If it's an original product, then you obviously have to deal with prototyping and making sure you found a good supplier and order that initial batch of product. And then you've got the high fees of Amazon storing it, warehousing it, and fulfilling that for you. So there's pretty high fees there. And because you do have to get a large amount of product to get started, is potentially quite risky. So not a great business model, especially for beginners, I would say. And like I say, I've not tried this business model myself, purely because of the drawbacks of it. But I do have a friend who tried it, and he did really well in terms of volume. You know, I think he got up to around about $100,000 in revenue per month. But remember, it's not all about the revenue; it's about the profit. You know, how much profit can you take home at the end of the day once you've paid all your costs? And at the end, he had to shut his business down because his margins were so thin. You know, he was down to virtually zero profit on all of that. So you know, he was basically working for free. Almost, and he shut it down because it just was no longer viable. So that is an illustration of what can happen with this business model. Not to say that it can be successful for some, but not everyone by any means. So moving on, digital courses. This model is where you would create a digital course with videos and associated downloads perhaps, and release that online. And the benefits of that are certainly, you know, keeping 100% of the profits, because it's your product. You can keep 100% of the profits, and you also keep full control of quality and customer support and all of that. But because it's your course, you do have to take care of the customer support, fulfillment, and I would say you do these days need to be an expert, because even if you think that you can release a digital course and perhaps use Facebook ads to market that and get sales of it, normally, if you're lucky, you will break even on Facebook ads. And the people selling digital courses on Facebook ads, their business model is to, once they've sold you a digital course, they will try and upsell you to a higher ticket product, so coaching or some kind of done for you service at the cost of a few $1,000s, for example, as at a minimum. And that is how they get their profit, because they're only breaking even approximately on the front end course sales. So they need to sell something on the back end. And if you were doing that, you would need to sell something on the back end as well to make your profit. And in order to do that, you'd really need to be an expert of some description in the field, in the subject of the course that you're selling. So that is something to be aware of. So the next business model is book arbitrage. Now this is something that's interesting business model where you look for books in online secondhand stores, even offline secondhand stores as well. But you look for books that are being sold at a high price on Amazon, and you find them cheap elsewhere. So you find it cheap on another third-party website, get it delivered to your home. You then take the book, you have to scrape off any labels because it's obviously a used book. You scrape off any labels, clean it up, and then send it off to Amazon to be held by them and fulfilled by them when it sells, and you list it on the Amazon platform to be sold. And you have to do that at scale. You have to do it again and again and again. And in order to make this a viable business model, you have to have probably hundreds of books listed on Amazon. And honestly, having tried this myself, it was maybe kind of fun at the beginning, trying to find these bargain books and upload them onto Amazon. But honestly, in the end, I found it a real pain, and I can't see any advantages in it at all, to be honest. That's why I've put a question mark there. But on the negative side, it is expensive to start up because, like I say, you need hundreds of books listed on Amazon because these books are going to sit there. There's no guarantee they're going to sell as soon as you list them. In fact, they won't. You have to wait. And just like any bookshop, you have to wait for the customer to come into the store and buy the book, and they have to have a stock inventory for people to choose from so that they can sell a few books a day, hopefully. And that's exactly the same as what you have to do online. So it's expensive to start up. You need a lot of books. You need to hold a lot of stock, and that's obviously held by Amazon. And while it's being held by them, you're being charged by them to hold it. So don't forget about that. The margins are pretty low because once you paid for Amazon's fees for the warehousing and fulfillment and everything, what's left for you is fairly small, and their commissions as well. And again, it's not your platform. You could get kicked off for a technicality at any time, and you would have no recourse. And also, I found it was very labor intensive. Like I say, you've got to get the books, clean them up, get the stickers off them, and then post them off to Amazon. And you can be doing that several times a week to do that. So yeah, pretty labor intensive. Now, in a moment, I'll reveal my number one online business model, and that's one that's paid me a full-time living for the last 13 plus years. But first, I want to tell you about that free gift. Now, if you'd like the exact playbook I've used to literally force 100% of my clients on my new program to make their first affiliate commissions, you can get that free, and you'll find it linked somewhere below this video. So check that out. So on to our last business model, and that is affiliate marketing. So again, I've been doing this for 12 plus years, since 2012, and it's paid me a full-time living year in, year out. So yeah, it's a great business model, and I love it. Now, on the negative side, let's look at the negatives first on this one. On the negative side, there is, because you're an affiliate marketer, what you're doing is you're marketing products, other people's products. You're selling other people's products for a commission. So it's a bit like you give your house to a realtor to sell and they get a commission. Slightly different, but that's an example in day-to-day life. But because someone else's products, and these can be digital products, Amazon has an affiliate program as well. But honestly, if you want to make good commissions, then I would stick to digital products because the commissions are so much larger, because the profit margins are so much larger. Okay, you might get a 10% maximum commission on a physical product, but you're going to get the standard for the digital product is about 50%. So, but because it is someone else's products, you don't have control of that product. So this was a problem for me when I started out, because I was in the UK real estate investing niche, and that's a fairly small niche, and the number of programs that are available is fairly small. So when somebody shut down their program or went out of business for whatever reason, I was left a little bit high and dry. But because it was because it was a small niche, whereas now I'm in a worldwide niche, and I'm teaching affiliate marketing in that, there's no shortage of programs to choose from. So as long as you choose a large niche, then you're not going to have really that problem. If something closes down, just find something else to promote. So on the plus side with affiliate marketing, though, you are, like I say, you can potentially be earning 50% and sometimes even higher in terms of commissions. You can work from anywhere in the world that you have a laptop, you got an internet connection and a computer. You can work from anywhere. Your startup costs and your overheads are going to be very low, the lowest of pretty much any business I know. There is potential for passive income because if you sell, say, a software, a SaaS product, software as a service product, or maybe a membership site, something like that, that you're going to get a recurring commission on, then that's potentially passive income. With this business model, you don't need to do customer support because, again, you're not selling your own stuff, you're selling other people's stuff, so they deal with the customer support, and there's no stock to hold because you're selling either digital products or other people's products. You don't have to hold the stock. There's no fulfillment to do, and there are many product options. So if you choose the right niche, then there's almost unlimited options of things to promote. It can be faceless. If you want to show your face, you can, but it can certainly be faceless if you want it to be. It's very beginners friendly, and there is no selling to do because all you're doing, you're referring people onto the product owner, and they will do the selling. Okay, so that is affiliate marketing. So thank you so much for watching this video about the best online business models. If you liked it and would like me to make more like this, then comment more below, and don't forget to like and subscribe to be notified. So see you next time. God bless.